you can actually see us. So for those who don't know me, I am Venny, and I am running this basically the podcast project, getting this thing up and running. I'm also probably a few of you watching this who'll know me from in the Discord as well. And we have our veritable leader with us here today.
Veritable?
Yep, that's a good. I think it's a good word to
I think so.
describe.
Why not?
Yep. So, do you want to, for anybody who might not know who you are, do you want to let them know?
So I'm Chris Hawkins. I'm one of the co-owners of Mutara Alliance. Um, I co-own the Armada with Techie. You'll know him as DJ Techie of his handles and things like that. Um, so we together have been in a partnership doing this sort of thing for 7 years now. It's been 7 years. Um, so um, I keep saying
That's all right.
so just a tiny bit nervous first time. So
That's all right. It's actually very difficult not to do that.
aye, especially when you're Scottish as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're different people from different parts of the world will say it differently. Americans will go you know
Yeah,
what I mean, whereas we go
definitely.
That's what we do.
So so um, so we run basically the day-to-day operations of keeping Mutara Alliance going. Uh, we run events, we run FTOs, we do the sorties. Our operations department runs the sorties. Um, we can, I think in the future we'll get a wee sheet where I think they've got their times and days that they run the sorties.
Yep.
We are coming up for Valentine's Day, so Techie is a huge fan of Valentine's Day, and well, I'm not really sure why he's a massive fan of Valentine's Day, but he likes to do a Valentine's Day screenshot. Um, so look out for that. That'll be launching, I think, when I get home. I think we'll just launch that when I get home.
Brilliant.
Um, so we've got a few people chatting in
Yeah, we
here.
want to say hello. So we've got Nocturna, or Nocturna. We've got
That's Techie.
Kafka.
That's actually Techie.
All right, hello
Yeah,
Techie. We've got Dave as well.
Dave,
Hello,
that's right.
and what's that? Catherine or Haley? We'll say howdy back. So yeah, so that's great.
And my wife's just showed up as well.
All right, there you go. There you go. Awesome. So, and we've got another follower as well. Brilliant.
See?
So let's think a little bit about Star Trek Online then, you know, in terms of what's going on with the game. So lots of viewers will know about obviously the acquisition or the restructuring that took place with Deca, and we're all still waiting to see how that pans out over time. But we've also just recently had the 14th anniversary update as well with the new Rule 359 TFO added, which I think was a pretty faithful uh, kind of reconstruction of it. Although I do think Edgery Dax was a little bit kind of blasé with her comments at the end,
Mm.
saying, you know, you get a bit of wounded pride there. It's like, you wouldn't reenact Pearl Harbor and then say that, would you?
No,
Do you
you
know what I mean?
wouldn't.
This is
No.
kind of the Pearl Harbor of Starfleet.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, it was a very good TFO, and you know, yes, you could argue that it's maybe not so challenging depending on your skill level in the game. But I think they ironed out some bugs as well. There was some problems with the assimilators coming out of the ship. They were getting stuck inside and killed and all sorts of stuff before they, or unable to be killed rather, before they came out of the ship. So some of them have been ironed out. I think there's also the possibility that the 14th anniversary bundle will actually include I'm doing it now as well.
Um,
The 14th anniversary bundle will include ships from the both 359 fleet,
yeah.
so that'll be really interesting to see.
See, I like those old style ships,
Yeah,
like the Excelsior and um, what's the ship with the one nacelle? What do you
The
call that?
Freedom
I love that
Freedom
ship. I
class.
think that's just a cool wee ship,
Yeah,
all round. And what's the other one as well? Picard ship. What's that one again? Remember the one Stargazer?
Stargazer. Yeah,
Stargazer. I love all those wee
yeah.
types of ships.
Yeah, so that's a constellation class, isn't it?
Yes,
And I think there was the USS Constance that was mentioned in Picard season 3, which was Captain Shaw's
yes,
ship. He was on that
yes.
when he was a lower ranking engineering
While he
officer or
was at
something.
Wolf 359, that's
Yeah.
right. And then Captain Cisco was at Wolf
Yep.
359 as well. He
Yep.
was in d- um, he was in
Miranda.
Miranda. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, it was an interesting variant of Miranda because it looked a wee bit different and it had almost like Star Wars style
That's right. Yeah.
weapons on the side. By the way, I just want to check with everyone. Could you hear us okay? I just want to make sure because this is a whole new setup here.
Yes.
So just want to make sure that you can hear us all right. So if you hear any audio distortions, just give a shout and let us know and we'll try and fix it. But yeah, Wolf 359 bundle
Yeah,
should
you
be
can hear us. Yeah, you can
brilliant.
hear. Good. Good.
Great, great. So Wolf 359, I reckon, will be the bundle that will be coming out. It'll be interesting to see. So, um, yeah, lots of things going on in the game. Anniversary time is always exciting. So, Chris, thinking about so taking it from Star Trek Online, broadly speaking about the game,
Hmm.
to Mutara Alliance, again, there may be people who are watching this just now, or who will be watching this later on,
Hmm.
who may not know anything about this at all, or about the Alliance, or even there's a lot of players who don't even engage in fleets
Yeah, definitely.
or communities. So,
So it's a side element. It's an extension arm of Star Trek Online. So it's about a community coming together, coming online, and just engaging with each other, running things like TFOs and sorties and PvPs and PvEs and things like that. So the purpose of the community as a whole is basically to bring everybody who loves Star Trek Online together.
mhm,
That's the one massive goal that me and Techie always had, was just bringing a community of people together where somebody in Detroit can say and be friends with somebody in Sydney, Australia.
mhm.
These were the things that we were wanting to always expand and make make sure that we had all the elements put in place first, and then come in and just say, right, you're from Detroit, here's a guy from Australia, and get them
Mhm.
together and talk about Star Trek Online and play the game as well.
Do you
That's
reckon? Do you reckon it can be a bit of a culture clash with people from all over the world?
sometimes absolutely. Me and Techie, and I don't think he'll actually mind me talking about this. Me and Techie used to not see eye to eye quite a lot because of our different cultures. So because Techie's American and I'm Scottish, it's it was a little bit of he just thought I was shouting at him all the time, right?
The Scottish
The Scottish guy
nature.
shouting at him all the time. So when we established that connection by coming together, putting all the cards on the table and saying, right, listen, this is who I am. This is the way I talk. When I'm texting you, I'm not shouting at you, right? It's this is the way I talk. And then him in turn said, right, this is me, this is the way I talk, and things like that.
Mhm.
And once we did that and opened up to each other, that was it. We just took off.
Do you know, it reminds me of stories you would hear about uh, the Korean War, where you would have British soldiers and American soldiers there, and
Absolutely.
The Americans would say to the British, "How are things going? Is everything okay?" And the Brits would say, "I've got a bit of a problem here," and the Americans would think they were fine.
Mm,
But that was the British saying we are in real trouble.
yeah,
So they were,
definitely.
that communication can be quite different. And I think as two Scottish people, we know we can come
Absolutely.
across as a bit more forthright with them we really mean to be sometimes.
Absolutely.
But that kind of leads into our own bizarre story, doesn't it? Where um, I came along and was interested in doing this and getting a podcast set up and getting all that done. And I think it was Dave initially had said to me to bring the question to you,
Yeah, that's right.
and then when I came onto the conversation with you, we realised we were actually from the same town.
Literally from the same town.
I mean, what are the chances of that? And in fact, my girlfriend lives in the same town as Techie is from,
Yeah,
so utterly
it's
bizarre.
so the coincidences are just mind blowing. I think Taika was quite mind blown with your girlfriend being from Philadelphia as well.
Yeah,
So he was like he couldn't. He jumped on and he was like, "Listen, he's." I says, "You realise that he's from my town?" I says, what's the odds of that happening?"
I've just seen a chat come through. Yep, I'm Venny. That's me.
Benny, yes, Benny.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the great things about a fleet in our online community. I mean, we call it a fleet, but it's an armada.
Or
Yeah,
yes,
and that's something we're getting used to, isn't it? Is referring to it as an armada rather than a fleet. But I think an online community like this is great for, obviously not in our case because we're from the same town, but for bringing people from different cultures together and that they can coexist with one another and form uh, bonds with one another despite maybe never actually meeting and maybe they
yeah,
never will meet.
yeah,
But they are coming together in the game and they're supporting each other. I think that kind of segues into the topic of what this community does in terms of supporting players with different skill levels. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So just going back on that small narrative, I've never met Tech in real life,
Hmm.
but we've been together for 7 years, and I've got his WhatsApp and things like that. We're always like in constant communication with each other, talking and things like that. And this is a person that stays what 5,000 miles away from me.
Yeah.
So that connection right there, I've connected with somebody halfway over the world, and that's what we've always wanted to do is connect with people all over the world, even in Scotland. I'd love more Scottish guys coming in here.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that would be great for them because they can't even understand what we're saying half the time. But so what was the question again? Sorry, I just that'll happen sometimes.
Well, it was just about the bringing of people together, but also players of different skill levels.
Yes,
So there can be an element of gatekeeping in any game,
yes,
and and I've said this on the voice channels when I've spoken to people, have my own gripes with things sometimes where things can irritate me. But generally speaking, my respect level goes through the roof for players who will ask questions
yeah,
and want to join with players who have more experience in the game and learn.
absolutely,
Do you know what I mean? One of my favourite things is to do runs with players that are not too sure or to help players with builds
yeah.
if they don't know what to do. And obviously we've got El Patron or El Patron. I'm not sure exactly what the
We
pronunciation
always
is.
call him El Patron.
So they are fantastic for
Hmm.
the builds, and I believe are instrumental in the running of Stow Better,
Yes,
which is an enormous resource that's run. So we've got these sorts of people within the community, always helping out, always giving advice, pointing people to better resources. No pun intended with Stow Better, or the best resources that are out there. And I think that's the thing, that when it comes to training.
so he's getting a wee shout out
Yeah, there you
himself
go.
there.
Yeah, he is great, brilliant, absolutely fantastic, and very supportive member of the community, both within the alliance and out with
Yeah,
as
definitely.
well. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think it's something that we should be proud of that those people exist within this community, and that's the
Yeah.
way that the community is built. And I think one of the comments I made when I first joined was it was one of the best run communities I'd ever seen in terms of the structure, progression,
Yeah,
because you can progress through the ranks,
of
can't you?
course, of course.
You can volunteer for responsibilities. You get appreciation for what you're doing as well.
Absolutely.
But that also comes with standards, doesn't it? Where you've got certain standards
Yeah,
that you're expecting as well to
yeah.
keep the standards high. So I would imagine, say for instance, someone was gatekeeping players or being toxic towards players with lower skill levels. You wouldn't tolerate that sort
No,
of behaviour within the.
you couldn't tolerate that because what you're doing is damaging the community like that. So if somebody's been gatekeeping and keeping things to themselves and stuff like that, what good is that when you're supposed to share knowledge all the time?
Yeah,
Knowledge is the key factor in making a community grow.
Yep.
So if you take, for instance, you come in as a new player and you're nervous and things like that, and somebody turned around and went, "I'm not helping you," how would they? It would make you feel horrible.
Yep.
So the standards that we've got with our command staff is basically treat everybody with respect the way that you want to be treated.
Yep.
Don't don't be rude to people because you wouldn't want that in real life for people to be rude to you.
Yeah, and the thing is, you never know where someone is going to develop to. And think of the sense of pride you might feel if someone that you had brought under your wing
Aye,
3, 4 years down the line
that's
was getting
happened a
into
few
the,
times.
you know,
Yeah.
getting into the DPS charts and things like that, or has developed some incredibly unique Space Barbie setup that they want. And
Yeah.
in fact, watch this space because there's a couple of plans to do with Space Barbie, isn't there, that we haven't quite revealed.
Yes.
So we'll throw that little hint out there,
That little
yeah,
snippet.
but we'll say no more. Um, so, also there was the third birthday, wasn't there?
Yes. So I I've loved the fact that um on the 18th of no, the 28th, sorry, of January, we celebrated our third year of the Armada, and our idea was to have as much fun on that day as possible.
Hmm.
So there was 5 events. We had 3 free giveaways. We had the trivia,
Yep.
and we had the party.
Oh yeah, well actually while you're talking about it, I can actually switch to that just now. So
So
here is
yeah,
some snippets from the actual party itself. I don't know if there are a number of community members that may recognise themselves there.
yeah. If you can see yourself, give yourself a shout out because it was wonderful.
Yeah, there's sort of fish flying about everywhere and all of the maxed out what is it? The maxed out reputation
Yeah,
symbols
that's
flying
right. Yeah,
everywhere. I actually went and spent about 50
you
million
did.
EC on party horns that I had missed, just to basically crash the server. So all of those problems with the server that happened over the few days after that were probably our fault.
Maybe.
And wasn't there a point where there was only one player who wasn't in the community who was on that instance and ended
Yes.
up probably thinking that all hell had broken
Yeah,
loose?
because we had all gone to queue at that moment to
Yeah,
get more screenshots. So we were, if anybody's interested in going back and seeing all the wonderful screenshots of our third anniversary, they're in the screenshots tab in Mutara Alliance Discord server. You can scroll back to the 28th and revisit them. We had white wine to the fish.
yeah, that's Tarkon, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. I think the cleanup crew must have had to spend about 3, 4 days
I
trying to
think they
put.
must have just went out the
Yeah,
airlock.
yeah, yeah. I reckon so. I reckon so. So yeah. So, um, on that topic then of talking about the events, what we're going to be trying to do is to get footage of these things going
Yes,
forward. Also,
definitely.
there was a screenshot competition, wasn't there? But going forward, we're going to try to keep those to show on the streams as
Yeah,
well.
definitely. Um,
And what was that about Nimbus and Kittimer?
oh, so what's actually taking place with Nimbus and Kittimer just now is they're fast approaching being level 85.
Brilliant. And those, just to be
Is
clear,
that
so
right?
that's the name of
Yeah, so
two
yes.
fleets. Yeah.
So Kittimer, Mutara Alliance Kittimer is our KDF fleet, and Nimbus is our last fleet that we've made up, who's run by Darth and Edgeman runs
Hmm.
Kittimer. So shout out to Darth and Edgeman for getting us to that level. So once that's passed, we actually have 5 fleets in the Armada that are all level 85.
Which is a great resource to have, isn't it?
Massive,
You know,
massive.
I mean, there are amenities that players want access to. They want to be sure that they're joining a fleet, a fleet within the wider community. But when
Yes,
they're in the game, they want to join a fleet that they can access, say, skill boosts and things like that,
yeah,
certain items.
definitely.
and the fact that those are always provisioned as well, and it's really well organised and run. I've not spoken to Darth very much, but Edgeman, we've had some great conversations.
Yeah,
And in fact, one of the comments I'd made to Edgeman when we were chatting was just about the organisational skills that he was displaying. He seems to really be, and I think you could probably, it would be the same, I would imagine, for all the administrative staff,
yeah,
that there's a particular, people are suited to the roles that they're going into.
yeah,
So there'll be transferable skills from real life that are being brought in, such as myself
yes,
doing
absolutely.
getting this kind of thing organised as well. So taking the media skills and bringing them into the community,
Yeah,
and that's something as well I think to be encouraged. If you have real life skills that you think you could take into this community and use, we were talking about training, for example. Are you someone who trains people in real life? Are you a teacher? Are you an educator of some kind? We would love to hear from people like that, wouldn't they, with curricula
absolutely.
for, to kind of standardize some of this stuff. But also, I believe there was a conversation in the voice chat about the fact that there's a lot of material out there that covers end game
Yeah,
learning, but not the early game. So there's going to be players coming straight in. What we would want is players coming in right at the start and being guided through that process.
absolutely.
You
So,
know.
talking about that, you've got a massive personality like Shady.
Hmm.
Shady is an absolutely wonderful person who literally will take you aside into another channel and will build you up level by level
Hmm.
and walk you through because he wants more people to come and do the sorties
Hmm.
for the operations department.
Yep.
He's a massive personality. He's just his knowledge is just spot on every time. And people like El Patron, people like um, Dave as well, you know, the these are the people that you look out for and go and talk to them. Go and speak to them. That's what they want. That's what they're here for. They're here to help. What's this? Oh, what's this?
That's okay, isn't it?
What is that? Why has that come up like
I
that?
don't know. We'll allow that. It's yeah. For some reason, it caught LMAO as a profanity.
What laughing? Oh, laughing my ass off.
Yeah, but it's just
Ah, I know.
it's an abbreviation. It
It's a
should
wee
be
bit
fine.
too sensitive.
Twitch is being very cautious there, isn't it? My goodness.
So, again, the operations department do a wonderful job in running the sorties, and we will get a calendar list of the days that they run so that you can keep an eye on when they're holding their thing.
Yep.
And speaking of that, roleplay.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, we have a new roleplay officer, Spectre. He came just sauntering in out of the cold, and
Yeah.
he delivered such a presentation that he blew me away. Now I didn't have a clue about anything he was talking about,
Hmm.
but the way he presented himself, and he says, "Listen, I'd love to do roleplay, and there's people out there that are interested in roleplay.
Hmm.
So go and check Spectre out. There's a roleplay section in the Discord. He's a wonderful guy. He's actually really quite cool and calm to talk to, and he knows his stuff when it
Hmm.
comes to roleplaying and
And
that.
again, going back to the standards, I think Spectre's got high expectations as well, but I think that that bodes well for players who are looking to have some serious roleplay
Yeah,
experiences.
definitely.
I mean, if you go into, say a Games Workshop store or something like that, they've got rules.
Yeah, of course I
When
do.
you're playing the game, no, it's not just a
What
case of
is that
anything
game
goes.
on the board? It's normally what is it with the wee characters and you've got to paint them in that? What
Yeah,
is that?
well,
Warhammer,
yeah,
isn't it?
Warhammer, yeah. So the
Warhammer,
Games
that's
Workshop
right.
stuff, yeah,
Yeah,
but also D&D games. I mean, your GMs or DMs, I think, they're is it DM, but they will set the parameters for what goes
yeah,
on and control that. And I think
definitely.
that that sort of standard. I think you're in safe hands with Spectre, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know.
And then obviously, Easy, um, who is the XO of the operations department, he is a writer. So putting those two together, Easy kept messaging me, going, "This guy's brilliant.
Hmm.
He's writing spot on."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, I've put one writer next to another writer, so imagine what these two writers can come up with
Hmm.
scenarios."
And also there's is it easy or is it someone else? Maybe a few people, but I've seen the articles that are being posted within the Discord as well
Yeah,
about
that's
certain.
the operations department
Yeah.
again. So that's a shout out to Mandalore that
Yeah.
does that as well. A shout out to Shady and the operations department. These questions um, are for engagement.
Hmm.
That's I originally called it the icebreaker.
Hmm.
So if you're somebody new and you want to talk and somebody just puts out there, what do you think of this?
Hmm.
What an icebreaker.
Hmm.
That's so it became very, very popular
Yeah.
and has engagement all the time now.
And it's a way for people to get to know each other
Of
as
course
well,
it
isn't
is.
it?
Yeah.
So I mean there's tons of great things going on. I think there was we were kind of wanting to clarify how it works in terms of the self-sustaining nature of the community as well.
So that's a massive question. So it it took a long time for that self-sustaining to happen. It was a slow build up, and once we got there, what we did was because me and Techie used to fund Mutara Alliance on our own
Hmm.
to start up with, and then I thought about it and I was like, realistically, like keep putting money into it.
Hmm.
It, you feel it in the bank,
Hmm.
right? So what we decided was, well, if the community is wanting to come in here, can the community maybe help us out?
Hmm.
So that was the foreshadowing of that was, let's see if we can help. So it started off with, can you give us some EC?
Hmm.
And what we'll do is all that EC will build up
Hmm.
and we'll get like a 10 keys.
Hmm.
And then what we'll do is we'll do an event and it just kept growing and growing and growing to the point where that self-sustaining um, culture
Hmm.
that we've got now is massive. I
Hmm.
mean, everybody in Mutara Alliance, you don't understand how much me and Techie appreciate every single thing that you give us because it literally is all for you. Every time you give, even if you give like 100,000 EC,
Hmm.
that 100,000 EC goes into our Armada bank,
Hmm.
gets put in there, and it builds up and it builds up and it builds up. With like giving experimental ship upgrade tokens,
Hmm.
the coupons for the T6 ships and
Hmm.
things like that. Everything that's literally put in to Mutara Alliance always comes back out into the events.
Hmm.
So the more that's put in, the better the prizes get.
And I think as well that goes back to supporting sort of younger, not younger, but younger in terms of
Yes,
experienced players who
absolutely.
may need those. Say I got a T6 upgrade token, I might not really want to use that. Do you know what I mean? It's something where I could
Of course.
give that. But I think it's also acknowledging what people give in terms of time.
Yes,
The people who are watching this and commenting on this right now are contributing as well.
absolutely.
So even outside of the physical things, there are things that people are doing like engaging, helping one another, doing the administrative stuff in the background.
Absolutely.
The time is money effectively, isn't it? So when
Yeah, it
people are
really
giving up their
is.
time, that's amazing as well. I think you and Techie spent a long time this morning sorting out all the ranks, didn't you?
Yeah, so just onto the donation part as well, the shop.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
So the shop sort of connects onto that as
Mhm.
well. So we have our own official Utah Alliance shop. There's one in the UK and there's one in the US. And at this moment, um, you can go on there and it's basically official Mutara Alliance merchandise
Mhm.
that you'll be buying. But when you pay for that merchandise, that money goes back into the Armada again. So everything's recycled
Mhm.
over and over again.
Now, actually, one thing that would be important to point out here is that there are discussions, formative discussions at this point, about how to actually document that and present it back to the fleet
So
or the Armada, the
absolutely,
community.
absolutely. So we we use the shop spreadsheet.
Hmm.
A spread, it's something like that. Don't worry, I'll get that. So what happens is um, it's literally all documented on the app of where where what's been bought from. So
Hmm.
there's like Germany, Italy, France, right? And then what happens is there's another bit on the app where it shows me how much profit we're making,
Hmm.
and then it tells me how much I can take out. So it's limited set as
Hmm.
well. But all these things, I mean, we can start publishing these
Hmm.
things as well. I don't mind doing that.
I mean, I think, yeah, at this stage, it's working out how to present it.
Yes,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah,
that it's digestible. I mean, most businesses, charities, governments, or anything that's any kind of organization or community will do that. So it's just a reassurance
yeah.
for
Well,
anyone watching that,
um, onto that, like the prize tally.
yeah. Oh,
So
that's
that
on there, yeah.
so that's on there.
Yeah.
So that prize tally that you seen from two years ago to last year,
Yeah.
everything that's in there is all
Yeah.
documented,
Yeah.
and there's storage logs in game that
Hmm.
tell us what's been moved, what's been taken out, and things like that. And
Hmm.
our wonderful security team, including the fleet admirals and vice admirals, check these logs daily
Hmm.
to make sure there's no inconsistencies and
Hmm.
things like that. So that's another part where we're
Hmm.
self-controlling ourselves as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, certainly, with the work I've been doing, I wouldn't say I've been brought in to do it, but it was a suggestion. That was something I had noticed that was there. But certainly, as your kind of PR marketing, acting in good faith, it's something that was in there as a discussion, wasn't it? How do we
Absolutely.
formalize this process? Because I think as much as a community wants to celebrate what members are doing, it also wants to be able to say, here's the result of what you've done.
Absolutely.
You did this, and then it led to all of this. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, 100%.
Look, Twitch is being super
Crazy.
crazy. It blocked something, but then it's been
So
allowed,
what
so
is
that's fine. So Servant Knight says, so what's the fastest and easiest as a noob to really contribute in the Armada? I mean, I think we could probably both give different answers to this,
Mm,
couldn't we? Or I can say something and then
yeah,
I may miss
absolutely.
something out, but I think what I was pointing out about time is that yes, you may not have the resources that other players have right now, so you might not be massively EC rich, or you may need the resources that you've got for
Yeah,
your own activities. So you don't want to be giving away things that you yourself need because you're going to scupper your own experience.
absolutely.
But what you could do is you could give some time. So you could you could maybe volunteer to do something, a half hour, 15 minutes, an hour here and there where you're getting involved and supporting. And then as you develop, that relationship will change. So as you do become more established in the game, you then may not need so much resources to develop characters as much, and then you're able to take part in that, and then actually give newer players that
Hmm.
process to go through. So you're kind of cycling through as you go along. And I think the thing is that, I don't know if we would really see anyone as like, I think we would probably. I don't know if there's like a guideline, like a set in stone guideline, is there? I mean, it's what people want to do, you
So
know?
obviously the f- the fleet banks.
Hmm.
So going on to like talking about the fleet banks now, your general tabs and things like that, they're all set limits.
Hmm.
So you can come in and say, "Oh, there's a purple phaser." You can take that.
Hmm.
But what we are asking is that if you are going to take a little bit of resource,
Hmm.
give something back
Hmm.
when you can.
Hmm.
Not right off the bat.
Hmm.
That's not what we're after. But remember, that all these resources are from all the other players that
Hmm.
are in, all the other members that are in the Armada,
Yep.
that are given these things for you to build yourself up.
Yeah.
The little bit of appreciation is just a wee bit here, a wee bit there, and we're not asking for your bank details or anything. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
a million EC here.
Actually, hang on. I thought we were.
Well, I mean, we can if you want.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Sort code and account number. Type it in the chat now. Only kidding. Only
I
kidding. Twitch.
and That's actually a good point from Techie, by the way. That's Techie.
Yeah, so they fill up the bank completely. Yeah. Does anybody are those the consumable turrets?
Yes,
So does anybody ever really use
no,
those?
but they actually use us as an extra bank, which really annoys Techie.
Yeah, yeah. There are certain things are kind of
Bridge
well,
officers as well. Bridge
yeah.
officers is another thing where
Well,
people.
that's a little tip actually I could give you. You may not know this, but you can turn bridge officers into skill manuals.
There you go.
So you right click the bridge officer and you can choose the skill manual that you want. So you could bank up on skill manuals that you may use on other bridge officers, or you can sell them on the
Yeah.
exchange. Amazingly enough, there are people who will buy skill manuals on the exchange that you could buy for nothing at the skill manual trainer for 10 times the price. If you want to make some quick EC, there's a little tip for you.
There you go.
4,000 over there, you can sell it for 400,000 on the.
There you go.
It's a way to make some money. Um, so yeah, so that's brilliant. I think we covered off. I mean, I'm kind of looking through some of the points we wanted to talk about. Um, I think we've covered off quite a lot. We had talked about the kind of helpfulness of the community
Oh,
as
the
well,
thing that we did this morning.
right?
So, what me and Techie do every year is we come together and we do what we call spring cleaning.
Hmm.
So, spring cleaning consists of going through all the Discord, making sure it's the way we want it and it's
Hmm.
set up properly. And then what we've done is we've gone in game and changed our overall holdings contributions.
Yeah.
We've made it easier for our members to gain access to our fleet banks now by
Great.
lowering these contribution levels.
Hmm.
So from ensign to lieutenant, it was 100,000.
Hmm.
We've now lowered it to 50,000.
Wow.
From lieutenant to commander, it was 250,000. It's now 175,000.
Hmm.
And then from commander to captain, it was 550,000. It's now only 400,000. So now you can gain the ranks quicker
Hmm.
as well. But what the whole point in doing that was to give back to
Hmm.
Mutara Alliance and say, we're going to lower this down a little bit because you've given us so much. I mean, we're almost hitting. There's been a bit of a mistake on Discord, and I won't go too much into that. Um, but we lost a few members because we weren't really keeping track of things.
Hmm. Hmm.
Some things got missed out,
Hmm.
okay? But me and Techie have gone and corrected that this morning,
Hmm.
and we're almost hitting 400 members
Wow.
inside the Discord server. So this was a way to sort of say, right, we've reached another milestone.
Hmm.
So, and we don't really. So once we're all a level 85 fleets as well,
Hmm.
we've got all that there sitting. So why not lower it down? Why not give it back to everybody that's helped contribute to get these fleets
Yep.
to level 85? Bring that down so that you're talking about the new players that are coming in. It's not that hard to give a little bit,
Hmm.
get yourself into that fleet bank,
Hmm.
and then whatever you need, like a console, a fleet ship,
Hmm.
you know, it's made it so much easier for people to gain access to that because you've got to build your resources up as well.
Hmm.
So one foot in the door,
Hmm.
and then build your resources, and then that's it.
Do you know, I remember back in the day, you're talking 2013,
Hmm.
11 years ago, I remember when the Avenger first came out. and it was a T5 ship, and then there was the Fleet Avenger, which was the
Love that.
slightly better one, which I loved. And I
Mm.
remember at the time, people were asking for keys for people to be let into fleets to buy it.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know if that sort of thing still goes on in the game, but
I hope
obviously
not.
the complete opposite is going on here, isn't it? So
Yeah.
it's kind of opening the doors to people. I think, it's kind of a give and take, isn't it? So it's like you're contributing to the community with your time, positive engagement with other members, taking part in the TFOs and sorties and
Absolutely.
different things. If that's what you're doing, engaging with these videos, that sort of thing. And then it gets, comparatively compared to the kind of bad practices you can see elsewhere, it's incredibly
So
good, really.
two main rules of Mutara Alliance. You can, if you're an ensign, you just have to log in once every 30 days.
Hmm.
It keeps you your space in Mutara Alliance.
Hmm.
Once you get past that, it's 60 days. So
Hmm.
when you become a lieutenant, commander, captain, you
Hmm.
get 60 days grace,
Hmm.
right? The other, that's all. That's one of our biggest rules is that you just sign in to keep your spot.
And that kind of keeps the standards, doesn't it? And also you don't want to inflate your engagement numbers by pretending you've got members you don't,
Of course.
you know? I mean, that's a big problem actually if you look at social media companies out there who have gone to advertisers and said,
Yeah.
we've got X amount of people on our site, but it turns out 50% of them are bots,
Basically.
you know?
Yeah.
So I would say it's not just good in terms of making sure that you've got good members, people who are showing the
Absolutely.
behaviours that you want from members, but also you're not inflating artificially at all,
Yeah.
and it's all natural, good, organic growth.
Of course, because you've always got to be transparent.
Hmm.
There's no point lying about things like this because it doesn't gain you anything.
Hmm.
It just gains you that, like, oh, he's turned around and said he's got all this and he's really not, and
Hmm.
it's not worth it.
Yeah,
It
it'd be sort
doesn't.
of like a
Aye,
ghost
it's just
community.
not. It's not worth it in the end. So what we do is we regularly clean out our rosters
Hmm.
to make sure that we're keeping in turn with our 30 to 60-day rule. If you're inactive, um, for longer, come to a member of staff.
Hmm.
Message your team within your fleet, your vice admiral or your
Hmm.
fleet admiral, or anybody that's on that you can see is visually on.
Hmm.
Go to them and say, "Listen, I'm going to be away for a couple of months. Is it okay if I take leave?" And then what will happen is we've got a leave bit in our command section,
Hmm.
and we put you on leave with a note on an officer comment
Hmm.
saying this person's on leave, so that you never have to worry that you're going to get kicked,
Hmm.
just as long as you give us like a rough time frame.
Hmm.
So, like, don't say you're going away for 6 weeks and then you're away for half a year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Keep it honest.
Yeah, and I think as well. I mean, I would imagine, you're probably reaching out to players to double check. I mean, obviously, you don't know if someone's health has changed or some,
Absolutely.
so there's channels of communication to reach out to people.
Absolutely. Yep.
You're not just going to instantly
No,
get, you'll be reaching out to people and making sure.
absolutely. So that goes to the other part of we've had people in there for months and months. Our old um, Armada, which shall not be named,
They're like Voldemort from Harry Potter.
um, there was a couple of people that we brought over here, but have sadly faded away. Now
Hmm.
we've given them enough time, and that's what me and Techie always pride ourselves on is we give people time and chance, just if there's a wee problem in the background and that's all right, take a few days here and
Hmm.
things like that. We've always prided ourselves like that
Yeah.
because real life comes first as far as I'm concerned.
Oh
It's
yeah,
massively important that everybody understands that your real life comes first.
and I
This
think,
is just a game.
I mean, yeah, well, that's it. I mean, I think that speaks to a broader issue with MMOs in particular, where and you see it with things like World of Warcraft has been that you always hear these stories with World of Warcraft where people are playing to an unhealthy degree and letting other elements of their life slip away,
Absolutely.
you know. So I think that encouragement is not just something where we're that should be something that's communicated out across people who are playing games in general.
Absolutely.
You know, you don't want to be sitting in your room all the time playing a game when you get your family down the stairs. You know, there could be parents who are playing games when they could be spending time with their kids. You
Absolutely.
know,
Yeah.
and even just getting out for a walk, going out and taking 15, 20 minutes to go out and walk around outside. You know, they always say touch grass, but you know, it's one of those where you enjoy the game all the more for the time that you spend away from it, and I
Yeah.
think, you know, it's something to really be aware of.
And the
Um,
and the fundamental part is this is just a game.
mhm.
So, you know, take your time, and if something goes wrong, either let us know or don't, but go and deal with your real life problem first.
Yeah,
That's all I care about.
yeah,
There's a lot of people out there that have let quite a lot of their personal issues come in here,
hmm,
and it's just not a safe environment for that,
yeah.
because then we go to talking about our toxic uh, behaviors and things like that.
Well, that, do you know, this actually comes to another thing that we had talked about on the side, doesn't it?
Mm,
Where, you know, as a community, you want to be open to absolutely everybody, right?
absolutely. Yep.
And not everybody's going to agree with each other on things that they do in real life, right? They're not. I mean, it's just the nature of humanity. And I think that by having that filter and saying, let's talk about the game, let's keep certain things out of the discussion, then there are people who may not get on in real life who will
Absolutely.
get on in this community because
Yeah.
they don't know that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's really important is that, you know, that can build bridges as well.
Cool.
Because, say, for example, you get to know someone through this community, right? And you're talking to them every day and you think they're a great person and you're getting on with them. And then your relationship develops and you start talking to them more on the side and you find out a bit more about them.
And
And
then
you
you go and
find
meet
that
them.
they are someone who you might never have spoken to, right? That can open your mind to that.
Of course.
And you can start thinking to yourself, hang on a minute, this is someone I would have written off if I had known that at the outset.
Mhm.
If I'd known at the outset that this person was X, Y, Z,
Yeah.
I would never have given them the time of day. But because I didn't know that about them and I just saw the good side of what they were doing and the, you know, the humanity of that
Mhm.
person, that barrier has been broken there.
Yeah.
But I think
Definitely.
it also, you know, it's just good community cohesion, isn't it?
Of course it
You know,
is.
because the thing is, you don't want to say to people, "You're not allowed in this community because you think this."
No, absolutely
But I
not.
think the key is, don't bring it here. You know,
S-
don't, you know, controversial,
mm,
political,
yeah.
sociological. It's just not really appropriate, is it?
No. And leading on to that, um, we're not. We don't want to censor speech. We're not here to do that.
Yeah,
You,
and also
eh,
not to judge people.
and not to judge people correctly.
Yeah.
And we've always put in the outset that we don't really care who you are.
Oh, sorry, just saying see you later to servant night. He's actually going off to spend some time with their
Yes,
niece.
good.
Excellent. There you
That's
go. Have
good.
a great time.
Yes, have a good time. Uh, Catherine Haley, yeah. So going on to that, um, we're not here to censor people's speech,
Hmm.
right? But what we're asking you to do is use your common sense
Hmm.
and realize that there's other people with different cultures and backgrounds out there
Hmm.
that may find what you say
Hmm.
offensive. And
Yeah.
that's the thing that you've got to keep in mind
Hmm.
is just be respectful towards each other.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I mean, let's play this on a little controversial note. We're Scottish,
Hmm.
right? How many English people have we got,
Loads,
right?
and we love them.
We love them all. So, but that obviously that politicalness and things like that gets,
Hmm.
what's happening in the UK at the moment.
Yeah.
But we're not here to bring that in.
Yeah.
It's none of our business bringing that in here. We come in here to get away from the real world.
And in fact, it's the fact that we all love Star Trek Online and like Star Trek
That's
that
it.
brings us together. Do you know what I mean?
That equality, that it doesn't matter who you are,
Hmm.
just as long as you're a good person and you're naturally, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like all the qualities of a good person,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you can tell. You can tell. You can very quickly tell.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to know the facts about a
No,
person
of
to
course you
know if
don't.
going to get on,
I
and
mean, that
they're
comes later on in life when you
yeah,
start building that relationship up.
yeah.
You know, the more you build and build and build, the better you talk to people.
But I think the key point is that the the policy making behind this
Hmm.
is not picking sides.
Yes.
That's the beauty of this, and that's the thing. That's the thing I really like about this, right? Is it's not saying these sets of beliefs are okay to talk about and these ones aren't,
Yeah.
right? It's saying all of these things are real life, so let's keep that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too serious for
Yeah.
this.
Definitely.
Let's allow this place to be an escape. So that means it's an open door for everyone, but it's a
Absolutely.
safe environment for all those people to
Of
be
course.
together, you know?
And then we look at the fact that we open up a little bit. So your crew quarters, the voice channel inside the the Discord server, we've got relaxed tongues in there. You can swear a little bit in there.
Hmm.
Just don't go crazy. But then if you want to be really safe, then we've got our main communications, which is a zero tolerance
Hmm.
voice channel where you can go in, like, say we're playing online, and there we go. We try and stay balanced for everyone. Sometimes it's tough, but we try our best.
Yeah,
That's techie. Um,
that's it.
so in so the main communications, you could have just your speakers on in the background and kids running about. You don't want to hear effing and blinding and all that.
Hmm.
Your kids don't want to hear that. So you go into main communications
Hmm.
where it's a safe zone, where you know it's a zero tolerance, and if somebody has a slip up, you're just like, go on, get out. I
Hmm.
don't want to hear that. But in crew quarters, it's okay to have a little expletive now and again
Hmm.
and things like that.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, the whole point of the freedom of speech type deal. You can say these things, just don't overdo it.
Ah, yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah,
So I don't know why it makes sense to you. Of course, it makes sense.
yeah. It does,
um,
yeah. I mean, I do like to
well, we're
confirm it,
Scottish,
you know.
mate. It's pretty
I
difficult.
think it's yeah, it's how we say things for sure.
So
Um, do you reckon? Do you reckon we should open the floor to just some questions from people now? Because I think we've covered off a lot of what we wanted to chat about.
y-
Unless there was anything that
um,
I'm just
s-
looking at what we had noted down.
yeah. Um, where are you?
Wait, you guys,
So
you guys
that's
are
a big
Scottish.
shout out there, Dave. You're an absolute rock star, and I'm saying this live in front of everybody. On the 28th, when we celebrated our anniversary, he was my rock. He never left my side once. I just bashed that microphone. I realised that.
Terrible.
How dare I?
Punching the
I
equipment.
know, but
Terrible.
he stayed by my side that whole day. He was an absolute rock star, and especially this morning as well. He came in and he just jumped right in, no questions asked. And just a massive shout out to you, Dave. You're an absolute hero to me. Autismo, you're getting a shout out as well because you helped out this morning with me and Techie as well. Um, that was massively helpful. And just everybody in command staff.
Hmm.
Everybody in command staff who's that's Pamela. Um, who comes in, who engages in what I mean, it's all volunteer work as well.
Hmm.
You're volunteering your time to come in and help grow this community.
Hmm.
See, if it wasn't for these guys and the rest, we wouldn't be sitting here.
Yep.
You've got to have that establishment of moderators and people throwing events and people doing RPs and things like that,
Hmm.
having a security detail as well. It's
Hmm.
important. We've never hid the fact that we
That's Edgeman.
Edgeman, yay! We've never hid the fact that we have a security department.
Hmm.
There's no point. We have a security department in order to keep everybody safe
Yep.
and happy to come in here. So a big shout out to the security department as well.
Hmm.
You know, every all command staff everywhere. You know who you are,
Hmm.
and you as well.
Oh, thank you.
You coming in, and this will.
My goodness.
um, you coming in with the same time as Spectre as well. You've changed. you changed the way we were going for the better.
Well, I mean, I think the thing is, what this is making it feel real for people.
Yes,
Do you know
definitely.
what I mean?
It's real for me.
And look at
I'm
Edgeman. So we've got moments like this. So Edgeman there is saying this alliance is one of the best groups of people I've got to know.
yeah,
That's a huge thing for someone to say.
of
Do you know
course
what I
it
mean?
is.
You know, which is, how does that mean? What does that mean to you to read that from someone?
To read that is making everything worth the all the badness that me and Techie fought through to get to this point. Um, an old um, alliance told us that we would never make it.
Hmm.
They said that to me and Techie. They said, "You'll never make it on your own. You, you'll fail in the first couple of months, and you'll come crawling back."
And now look at it. And look at this, look. So, as Sir Bond saying, glad to see and listen to us. Let's stay united and enjoy this wonderful game together. Right?
Absolutely,
Have a nice day and night. Don't forget tonight, put an X in the chat for some TFOs. Brilliant.
I love that.
You've got Techie again shouting out to the command staff, the only ones who are required to work and have expected duties to keep this armada together and running smooth. And the members for being part of the family as well.
Not really sure why the thanks daddy's been put in there, but okay. Creepy.
That's all right.
So going back to what it means to us, it means everything
Hmm.
because we're Star Trek fans first,
Yeah.
right? You remember growing up and
Hmm.
watching. I don't know what it was for you, but mine's was the original series at the end
Hmm.
because it was reruns.
Hmm.
And my first film was, I think it was The Undiscovered Country.
Yeah.
That would have been my first film.
Same here. I went to see that in the cinema when I was
I went
5.
to see that in the cinema as well. And then the next generation for me
Hmm.
watched everything and then on and on and on.
Hmm.
But the fact is, this is a worldwide thing where everybody who is a Star Trek fan
Hmm.
knows where we're coming from.
And that's the thing. I mean, there's different branches within the fandom as well.
Yeah,
And funnily enough, Star Trek Online has helped me to appreciate different parts of the franchise.
yeah.
So when Discovery came out initially, I was not happy about the visual changes,
Hmm.
and I didn't mind the plot and all that, but it was the visuals that irritated me. But through Star Trek Online, I started to appreciate the visual changes by starting to like the uniforms and the ships when I was buying them
Yeah.
to use them, you know, and the tie-in of that content as well. And I know some people don't like it, and that's absolutely fine. But it's one of those where
Do
I
you know
think Star
what I
Trek on
don't like about Discovery?
well,
Michael Burnham crying all the time.
I know, but it's one of those things
It,
where
just get a grip, you're a captain.
I think the comment was about, this is the military here, like, you're
Mm,
supposed to have certain
of
professionalism.
course.
But that being said, I think that improved a little bit later in the run.
Yes,
I
it
think
did.
they did kind of I think the writers actually took some of that feedback on board, and I think they weren't blind to the
Ah,
opinions of viewers saying, we're not really vibing with that,
yeah.
you know, and then it became a little bit more. But again, Strange New Worlds, I think, was a response to that as well.
Strange New Worlds, I'm sorry, is a massive response to that. Because
Yeah,
what's happened with Strange New Worlds is it's gone back to the actual storytelling of Star Trek,
which is those
which
episode
is
by episode by episode. Yeah,
rather than the continual storyline, which
it's a galaxy ending disaster all the time. But then again, Star Trek Online's guilty of that as
of
well.
course it is,
You know,
absolutely. But that whole narrative of I can go back and watch one of my favourite episodes, but I didn't have to go and watch 6 episodes to get to that. If do you know what I mean?
I'm just going to point out, we want to get rid of this, don't we?
What is it?
We got someone trying to offer us services apparently on this chat. So we've got moderators in here. I don't know if a moderator could get rid of that message. That would be good. We don't really want that. We're fine on our own, I think, aren't we?
Okay.
We're absolutely fine on our own. But thank you. Um, just thought we'd gonna nip that in the bud.
Okay.
Because chat is not for advertising of services; it's for people to communicate with one another and ask questions.
Of course, and there
There
it
we go.
goes.
Brilliant. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. So yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, fair enough. So, getting back to that whole
Mhm,
storyline of Picard was good in the third season. Season one and two for me was a bit dragged on, a bit slow. You have to stay with the storyline in order to keep understanding what's going on.
mhm.
And then it got to the point where obviously bringing back the whole crew of the next generation, that nostalgic feeling and things like that.
Yep.
But does anybody remember towards the end of the last episode of Picard where Q shows back up?
Mhm. Yeah.
What are they doing with that? Is there going to be a Star Trek Legacy?
Well, there's talk about this. I think the thing is that the showrunners, I believe, or the people that are in charge, seem to be quite resistant to this for some reason. I think they want to push ahead with what their vision is.
But why put that in the first place then if you weren't going to
Well, I think that was is it Terry
I
Matalis?
think so, yeah.
So that was I think my feeling on this, and this isn't to be taken as gospel, is
Hmm.
that that was snuck in as a
This could
this is what
continue.
what he wants, but Terry Matalis is not as powerful in the grand scheme of things
Right.
as the others. So they're pushing ahead with the Section 31 movie and
Yeah.
Strange New Worlds. Whether they do, I think there is a Picard film coming out though,
Is it?
a movie that's on the cards. So that's, but I'd need to
Hmm.
double check that again at some point just to see what's going
It's
on there.
maybe a wee bit gossip.
Yeah, bit of gossip going on, but yeah. So I think about an hour now. I think we're probably. I mean, I think it would be good to answer a few questions.
Yeah,
See
absolutely.
if there are any questions from anyone, and then we'll sort of wrap things up.
Also, yeah, this we just mentioned
Yeah.
that you're a bit slow techie, but never mind. It's all right, people. I can talk to him like that.
I wouldn't dare.
Um, yeah. So if anybody's got any, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna put us out on the Discord again. Um, just see if we can get any last minute people that want to come in and maybe have a chat with us.
Yeah.
Um,
What I'll do is I'm actually going to run some of the party in the background while we're doing this. So let's have a look.
yeah,
There you go. You can have a look at the party while we're.
I love the visual effects of that. By the way, I didn't realize like just smashing my mic again. So you notice that like I'm not there. I'm like back
Is
here.
that your shadow?
That I think that is my shadow. Yeah. But I love the fact that like he's up here just sitting chilling out. There's another one
I
just
think
jumping down.
that's Dave up there.
I think so.
I think that is Dave up there. You can see me clicking on the various party horns
Yeah,
there.
just to get them.
Yeah, Davey has confirmed. Oh, here we go. So there's a question for you, Chris.
What has been the highlight when building up the Armada? Jeez. Um, this. This now.
All right.
The, building up relationships. I, I, like, Techie's my brother from another mother now. But again, he stays 5,000 miles away from me.
Hmm.
You know, he's laughed at that.
Well, he just said it's me and him fighting all the time and bonding after years.
Well, you know, it's a love-hate relationship. He loves me and I hate him, so, you know. Isn't that right, small spoon? You'll know what that means. So, this, getting people, haha, being the third world to our marriage. That's, yeah, big spoon, buddy. Anyway, that's a private joke.
I can
So,
see why.
building this up, having people like Shady and Tarkon
Hmm.
and El Patron, you know, just to name a few, not trying to miss anybody out on purpose, but these guys are coming in. and they're being the front runners and flag holders to every time that somebody comes into the crew quarters and that, can I help you? Do you
Mhm.
need a hand? So, and having the sorties set out at a max, like your minimum level to go into a sortie is 50, right?
Mhm.
But we'll get you to 50.
Mhm.
We're not going to turn around and say, like, we'll say to you, you can't join this one, but what you do is you wait and let us finish this,
Mhm.
and then I'm going to come and show you how to do it, and then get you all the way up to 50,
Mhm.
and then to 65.
Yep.
So again, that whole point of like doing the elite sorties and things like that as well. You've got to be at that certain standard. We'll get you there.
Yep.
Our our staff will take you on that journey and get you there. And
Mhm.
every time you need a hand, just ask for it.
Mhm. That's it.
That's it. You know, this has been fun, man. I'm still shaking. I'm like shaking. Yeah, I don't know what it is, just nervousness. Also, there is a lot of knowledge with ship builds. Well, there you go. So, please don't be afraid to go and look at the channels in the server.
In fact, I wonder if I could actually put the server up on the screen.
Actually, if we could do that, that would be
Maybe
tremendous.
you can talk through some of it.
Yeah,
So let's
absolutely.
have a look. I'll see if I can share it. Just bear with me.
Bearing with you.
So Mutara.
You've got so many messages, man.
So I'll go up to there. So let me just put it on F11 and then you'll have to bear with me for a moment just while I get that set up. But yeah.
So doesn't.
So yeah, I'm gonna
This
sort
is
out.
us just still trying to get to grips with this as well.
Yeah,
We're not professionals by any way standard, you know.
there we go.
Is that it there?
Yep.
The window's not captured.
So there we go. So that's that. So hopefully
So
you
they
guys
can
can see
see
this
that.
now. So can you guys see the Discord? Yeah. Yep.
Hope.
Okay. So
Yeah.
let me go into that.
I hope it's all. I hope it isn't just command staff in here, by the way.
Yeah. Well, got to start somewhere. We've got 14 viewers, which is great.
14 viewers. Thank you so much. The
Yep.
14 viewers. We really
So
appreciate that.
yeah. So do you want to take people through some of the areas here
So
then?
the command chain, as you can see, as it is, these are all your officers. These are everybody that will be able to help you. AC Techie, AC Chris. AC Evil Monkey is the man who discovered Mutarabot for us. Mutarabot is a wonderful um, piece of equipment that we've got in the Mutara Discord because it helps us document things that we were talking about. You know, numbers, um, helps the security do their job, helps operations do them, and he's basically the backroom administrator. I wish he would show up a lot more, and I hope he's bloody watching this.
Could
I
well
miss you,
be.
bud. He knows I love him. He knows I love him a bit. So Exo Hitoche, he is the executive officer of the security department. So he runs everything to do with the um, basically keeping everything on the straight and narrow. You know, keeping keeping everything nice and cheery and clean
Mhm.
is how I would describe that.
Secure.
Secure, enforcing the rules as well. That's what their department is. EXO Easy Shade, operations department. He's the executive officer there. So the operations
Oh,
department
I think the audio might have gone funny.
is
Can
it?
you let us know on the stream if the audio has gone strange?
Mm,
Right, hang on. I'll see if I can fix it. Let's see.
it's breaking up.
Worry.
A bit glitchy. a bit jerky. We'll try our best
Testing, testing. Is that a bit better, folks? Is that better?
to 5x5. That
Okay,
sounds
good.
better now.
Yep, so we know how to fix it live, which is great.
Thank God for that. Hope that doesn't keep happening though. Where was I? Shady.
Yep.
Operations department. They basically run events like the sorties and doing the questions. I don't know what Shady calls that. It's easy, but they basically run their own little things and they recruit as well. Their
Mhm.
departments for recruiting. Also, the roleplay
Mhm.
officer, Spectre, he's a part of the operations department as well.
Yep.
Um, we don't have anybody in the administration department yet. Yet. And X or Vizu, who we call Dave, he's just
Yep.
Dave. He runs the day-to-day operations of the fleets. So he'll come in and check everything, make sure that the rosters are always clean and tidy, making sure that well, that goes on. We're working with Atochi with the banks, all the fleet banks as well. So
Mhm.
everything gets cross-checked.
Mhm.
Actually, that's a great point. Everything in this armada gets cross-checked.
Mhm.
That's the way we've wanted it. So if somebody goes over here, somebody goes, okay, that's where you need to be.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? And then you're always cross-checking each other and things like that. So on to, well, that's the operations department and security. So these are your officers. Um, at the top, you've got chief of operations. So Shady's the chief. So if ever Easy was to go away for a long period of time, say he went on holiday and things like that, naturally Shady would come in and take over.
Mhm.
Um, and then obviously we've got the administration department that's just setting itself up and things like that as well. So
Yeah.
not really got any. It's there.
Yeah, I mean,
And then the fleets. The
well, that's the
fleets.
thing. I mean, I think, you know, yeah, I mean, this information is here, isn't it?
Yes,
So
it's
it's
there.
so
Yeah, yeah.
well
I think I talked
organized.
about that way too long, actually.
No,
Sorry.
that's all right. But
Also, one shout out at the top here. If anybody ever comes across this, these are two people that were with us that sadly passed away.
right.
And this is our small way of honouring these people.
Yep.
Um, and this is the way we do that, just to honour them. So if they ever see that and they wonder what that's there for,
Mhm.
that's what that's there for. So
Okay. Yeah, that's really really good to have, isn't it, at the
yeah,
top there? Um, that right at the first message, it's the first thing people see when they go in. But yeah, so it's you've got the different channels for different functions. It's all here. Um, you know, you, it's sort of self-explanatory, but it,
and we've
what's
got
nice about
videos on it as well.
sorry?
So see if you go to the rules and guidelines,
Yep,
there's actually a video that shows you where
yep.
everything is as well.
Yeah, I mean it's great. I mean I remember going through this when because I joined not so long ago
Mm,
myself, really, in the grand scheme of things. But
yes.
what it does is it gives you a feel. It's not just a list of rules or whatever. It gives you a feel for for what's going on.
Yeah.
It's so well organized, and actually it's a perfect launching point for things like roleplay.
Yeah.
I mean that's the thing, and you can see how Spectre's built off of this information that's already there as
Definitely.
well. But yeah, so we've been on for 1 hour and 13 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think yeah, it's been
I'm not
great.
gonna lie to you. I, I've just got a big smile on my face.
Yeah,
I
let's
can't
show that.
stop.
There you go. So yeah,
So how many new? So how many new people did we get?
we've had a few. We've had a number throughout the. We'll have to check the number at the end,
Yeah.
and
And
see what
this
it's
is
gone
how
up to.
many people's watching us just now.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah, yeah. You can ask. That's Dave asking if you can ask some questions. Absolutely,
a V unit.
Venny V unit.
Is that what he calls you?
Well, I guess he's decided to. There you go. Chris, could you try and pronounce that, please?
He's That's not even like remotely funny.
Gotta give it a go.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not even embarrassing myself like that.
Do you want me to try?
Aye, go on. You can.
Yar Lahotep.
That's much better than what I would have said.
Just want to say thank you to so it says what
That's Pamela.
Crochet Queen?
Hmm?
Who's that?
That's Pamela.
I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you very much. Um, yeah, it's been fun, hasn't it?
Oh, I've loved it, mate. Thank you so much.
Looks like Dave loved that pronunciation there. But yeah, so keep your eyes peeled for more. Really, I mean, we're going to be doing these on the regular, and by on the regular, I mean every couple of weeks for now.
Yeah.
May increase in frequency. I'm actually traveling over to the States from the 26th of Feb until I believe it's the 11th of March. So there may be a slight break unless we can figure out a way to do this remotely where we're
Yeah.
doing it from different places. We're also going to have other guests on this. We're going to be drawing on the experience within the community to talk about builds, talk about how to run certain missions, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
How to make money on the exchange is another thing we're going to be showing people. And also just getting people on from the community to tell us about themselves if they want to do that. I mean, everything from ensigns all the way up, we'll hopefully have guests on. So if you want a guest on this thing, pop myself or Chris a message.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
and you know, if you have suggestions for content that you want to see, so if you want to see some stuff, let us know.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I think we're good to wrap this up. So any final words for everyone?
Without you, we are nothing.
There you go. Words to end on and words to remember. All right.
Thank you so
And
much.
thank you for
Thank you.
joining.
Much appreciated.
See you later, folks.